will be your teacher, so you can see me on the screen. But now I'm going to share the screen. Okay, can you hear me? Can you confirm on the chat that everything works? Okay. And you can see my presentation. So now we must talk about the programming, about the technologies. What it means. What means the programming and what means the technologies. Actually, I've divided this lesson. There's two parts of this lesson. First one is answering the question, answering the question what the programming is and what the technology is, what the computer science, information technology, and things like that, what it means. And in the second part, we'll get back to the expectation, to the assessment rules, to the grade scale, and I tried to answer the question how to pass this course. So let me switch off my camera to make sure that I will not wasting my transfer. It seems that the presentation now will be enough. First, we'll answer the question actually what the information technology in computer science is. Can you answer me this question on the chat? Because during this seminar, I expect that will be discussed. It is impossible to discuss on the air because there's too noisy proposal. Switching off on your micro, but you can switch on your mics, your microphones, and interrupt me. But still, you can use the chat, and I'm going to use the chat to get from you feedback according to the selected topics. First topic is information technology or computer science. Can you answer the question what the computer science for you is in a couple of words, not just essay, but just what it means, what it's for you, what do you expect? I will try to answer your question, not answer your question. I will try to assess your answers after offline. I will get appropriate report with your answers, your personal answers, and I try to assess your answers and provide you feedback to make sure that we are on the same page, because we are discussing about very important thing. Computer science today is everywhere, and actually we are getting to take part in this. Well, what's this? How to call it? It is science. Okay, I have only one answer. So now I have two answers. Someone more tries to write. It is first time I'm trying to use this chat to get feedback from you. So it is also the possibility to check how it works. But my idea is to, what is my idea? My idea is to ask Google. You like Google. So let's ask Google. I must find appropriate. Oh, yes. Computer science. What it is? Computer science is study. Do you think it's really the study? You have 30 seconds to answer this question. If the computer science is study, yes or no? Just only And okay, so thank you for your answers. Is there any? Let me open this chat box to. Oh yes, yes, it's study. Maybe it's study. Doesn't matter. It's study. Maybe it is study, but actually we are not going to study. We are not going to at this stage of the education. Actually, we must learn computer science as engineering approach, because actually we are going, because we are talking about the programming, about something concrete. Therefore, we are talking about we must talk also about the technology. So the next question is here is very important question. I think it is. Computer science about coding. Is computer science about coding, do you think? It's only about the coding? What the coding means? The question is, if the computer science is all about the coding. I'm looking for the question that asks if students, computer science students, take part in the study. Okay. Next, what from this definition, let me make this definition bigger. This definition says that it is study about the computers. So we are talking about the computers, about something, about the device. Computer is device. Probably you have lectures that address actually this device and how to design computer. But the most important thing here is the computation system. Computation system. What is computing? What means computing? Can you answer this question? What is computing? What is computing? I try to provide this question. What is computing? Oh, it's my question. What is computing? Okay, so try to answer this question, but we'll try to go ahead. My answer to computer science and to what we are talking about, what we are going to do, it is to use the computer to process the data. Do you mean that processing the data and processing the information is the same? Yes or no? Computing the data and computing the information, processing the data and processing the information. Processing means that we are trying to obtain from the basic, from the starting information, from the input. We are trying to compute, to process the input data, to process the input information, depending on the definition. We are trying to compute to get new information. But it is similar to thinking. Do you think that the doctor, it is computer science guy? It's also using thinking. It also processes the information. Do you think it is computer science guy? For example, the doctor or the writer or the scientist? Anyone? No. No, yes, I agree. No, it's not computer science. But still, do you agree that he's responsible to process the information? Yes, of course. The question is, he's processing the information. So the computer science, there must be something different between the thinking, between using the computer to process the information. Because in both cases, we are processing the information. Using some computers, we have computer science. But using our brain, we are thinking, and we are also processing the information, but we are not computer science guy. I think that is very important answer, and I try to get this answer from you. Maybe you know. If you know, just put it on the chart. What is the difference between thinking and processing the information? Yes, there is a very important word I see on the chat. The process is automated. The process is automatic. So our goal is to provide automatic process. So automatization of the process is a very important thing. But the question is, what the information means? What is the information? What is data? That's saying the processing the data and processing the information means exactly the same? Answer the question. Do you think that the left side is equal to the right side? I expect answering yes, no, or depends on. Yes, no, or depends on. And what is the answer? Can see. Okay, let's wait for a while. Okay, just let's stop the discussion, and my comments and my answer is that it depends on. It depends on if we are talking about the lexical representation, about characters, so the characters on the left side and characters of the right side are not the same. So in this case, left side and right side are not equal. It is lexical level, but there is also the semantic level, meaning level. Depends what the left side and right side means. If it means number 4, actually the left side is equal to the right side. But it depends on the meaning. How to define the meaning? How to define the meaning of the set of characters, of the stream of characters? Because if you are talking about the characters, about the lexical level, we are talking about the text. Text is always the collection of characters, and actually it is series. It is stream. In this stream, we know which character is before and which one is after selected character. So the question for you is how to define the meaning. One word. It's crossword. No. The answer is coding system. You know the answer. Coding system is everywhere. You are using, for example, different representation of the number. But the most important thing is about discussion about the information of the data. What is different between information of the data? Do you think that data is abstract? Okay, do you think the number is abstract? It is question for you, yes or no? It's abstract. What do you mean abstract? It's a difficult question, yes. No answers. Yes, the number is abstract. Because talking about the abstraction, we are hitting details. What details we are hitting? We are hitting the representation details. You can see that the same data, for example, we are talking about the number 4. We can represent this number using different coding systems. In coding systems, actually, we have three important things. Actually, it seems that I've lost communication and I've lost. No, I'm still on the call, it seems. Can you hear me? Can you confirm?
Yes, everything's all right.
Okay, thanks. Because I've got a message that there's something wrong with the connection, but I think it's wrong message, not wrong connection. Still, the connection works. So we are talking about the representation of the information is abstract. If the information is abstract, it is difficult to use a device to process some abstraction. We need abstraction, but it is impossible to use concrete devices to process abstraction. What is the answer to this question? Of course, the answer is we must represent the information as a data. On the left side, let me get a pen to make sure that I am. It's a pen. Here we have data, and here we have its ghost. It's something that doesn't exist. It's a term. It's number. It actually doesn't exist. It exists as only as representation. So the answer is coding. What we need to provide to define the coding system? I am looking for your answers. 3 things. We need to provide 3 things. 3 very important for us. As the computer science guys, we need 3 things. Can you provide me answer? Oops, not this one. There's too many windows. Okay. Question is, I think question is difficult. 3 things we must provide. I said about the, okay, well, let's stop the discussion. We need to provide 3 things. First, of course, is the set of characters we are going to use. Here we have concrete set of characters. Here it's numbers, and here's letters. So actually we need alphabet. It is first thing. Second thing, we need to know how to combine, how to make correct streams of the characters and make sure that what is on the screen is correct. So the left side and the right side have different rules, and these rules we call syntax rules. So syntax rules we are using to validate if the stream of characters is correct. If the stream of characters is not correct, there is no possibility to talk about the meaning of these characters, of this text. Okay, and third thing? What is the third thing we need to provide? I am looking for your answers. Someone said language, no language. No compiler. I said about it. We need alphabet, we need syntax. Alphabet to make sure that we have we know all the characters we are using in the text. We need syntax to make sure to have rules how to create correct streams of the characters. And third thing, so what we need, rules, structured. Doesn't matter if it's structured or not. We need meaning. How to provide meaning to this set of characters? We need semantics. Semantics is a set of rules. A set of rules that defines the meaning of the correct character streams. Altogether, provides the coding system. If you are talking just about the numbers, but for example, if you are talking about general information, not only the numbers, because the numbers is a specific kind of information. If, for example, we are talking about politics, we are talking about weather, what we need? In case of the numbers, we need coding system. In case of talking about weather, we need what we need. For example, we are getting newspaper. What you need to know, to read, to understand? Language, yes, it's correct answer. Language. We need language. What the language is? What the language is? Language, waiting for your answer. What the language is? Don't try to put the essay, just 3 words. No. The language is more or less the same. What is the coding system? Actually, we need alphabet. We have Chinese alphabet, we have US alphabet, we have Polish alphabet, and different alphabets. So actually, we need to know what character we use. For example, in newspaper. Second, we need also the syntax. Sometimes it calls grammar if it's native language. If we are talking about the native language, we are talking about the grammar because the definition of the rules, syntax rules, it's very difficult. Therefore, we are using native language to describe these rules. In this case, we are talking about the grammar, not about the syntax. In case of programming languages, we are talking about the syntax. And next is, of course, semantics. In case of semantics, for languages, programming languages of native languages, it is difficult to provide strict rules because it is more complicated than just talking about the numbers. But still, we are talking about the abstraction. For example, if you are using a programming language, what kind of abstraction we are trying to represent? One word. What kind of abstraction we are trying to represent? No. I know that it's crosswords. But still, this lesson and actually this discussion is to make sure that we will use the same language. We will use the same native language, because in typical situation, like during the lesson, we are talking. If you are talking, we are using native language. But in the native language, still we have terms that all of us must understand the same way. So we must have the same semantics. If you are talking, for example, about about algorithm, we need to know what the algorithm is. Algorithm is a knowledge about how to solve the problem. As usual, knowledge is abstract. Algorithm is abstract. So we must represent this algorithm to use the device, to use the computer, to provide automatic processing. We must represent algorithm. To represent the algorithm, we need a language. It's called programming language, because it is abstraction from the native language. It is something that is a subset of the native language. It's easier to provide concrete, well-defined semantics, well-defined syntax, and well-defined alphabet. But now the question is, okay, so now we know that we need coding system of language to represent abstraction. So information is abstract, but the data, it is information representation. Why? The question is, why we need to distinguish information and data? Why we need two terms, we as a computer science guy? Because, for example, try to answer this question, it is just one or two words to answer this question. But in the meantime, let me explain that, for example, in the bank, it is not necessary that employees of the bank understand difference between information and the data. For them, all things could be information. The same is for the doctor, the same is for the scientist, the same is for the writer. But for us, it's a very important thing to distinguish two terms. Why? The answer is on the screen. No idea? No? Someone has idea. Okay, waiting. It is for us the most important thing to distinguish two terms. And after that, after this lesson, we must be aware about using the information word, about using the data. It doesn't mean that we can exchange both terms in case it doesn't matter. But there is a lot of places where it really makes sense to distinguish this information. One word, representation. No. Representation, yes, it's good. Good answer, but it is not complete answer. Because we need different representations. Therefore, you can see on this screen. Actually, if we provided coding system for the left side and coding system for the right side, we have two different coding systems. But the information is the same. But the text is completely different. It's the same with the newspaper. Is the same with, for example, the meeting. We can talk in English, but the idea is exactly the same if you are talking in Polish. We can use different languages, but we can talk about the same information. For us, on the left side and the right side could be the number 4. And the number is exactly the same, but text is completely different. Therefore, for us is very, very important. Therefore, for us is very important because we are going to use computers. But there is the next important question. Alphabet, relating to the alphabet. Because we are talking about the computer, it is impossible, for example, to use alphabet that we are using for the newspapers, that we are using for programming languages. We are talking that computer use binary alphabet. What is the binary alphabet? Try to answer this question. What is the binary alphabet? What is the difference between binary alphabet and the example are not stream of one and zeros consist of 1 and 0. No, it's not true. Because 1 and 0, depending on the coding system, could represent number 0 and number 1. So still it's not enough. Do you think that computers use 0 and 1s? Don't try to provide very complicated explanations. Explanation is very simple. We are still talking about what this binary alphabet is. Representation, no, but still 2 is just number. Okay, let's stop the discussion. Now it's time to answer this question. Actually, the binary alphabet is alphabet that contains only 2 characters. Doesn't matter what kind of characters we have in the alphabet. Binary alphabet is only alphabet that use 2 characters. For example, if we have a CD, what kind of characters we are using? Do you think that we are using characters 1 and 0? What kind of characters we are using having CD? Okay. What kind of characters we are using if we have a hard drive, or if we are using memory, computer's memory? Yes, in CD we are using holes, or so the holes or lack of holes we can use as 2 characters. In the memory, for example, we can use current, and we can use there are different. We can use voltage, for example, level of voltage. So we can use different characters, but still, in all of the cases, we have only 2 characters. It is the most important thing for computers, because in the computers we need to use at the very beginning, at the bottom, we need to use binary alphabet, and we need to build all the coding system based on the binary coding. Of course, using the binary coding, we can build different coding systems. For example, coding systems that we are using, these 2 coding systems we have on this screen. On the left and right side, we have 2 different coding systems. But this coding system doesn't work for the computers, because in the computers, it's impossible to use directly characters and directly numbers. Okay, so what we are going to talk about? We are talking about information representation. It is the first thing. We have many different kinds of representation. Do you know how the information representation in context of the programming language goes? One term, one word. Please provide on chat. How to call information representation in the programming language. You know this term, all of you. We call it type. Type is responsible to define all the three things. Actually, in all of the cases, we have the binary alphabet because the types are defined for the computers. Therefore, in all of the cases, we have alphabet as the binary. Next, actually, it's syntax and semantics. It's embedded in the type because okay, let's get back to this question in a couple of minutes. Next, we are talking about the processing the data, not processing the information, because we must be aware how to represent the information, because we are applying appropriate activities to the data. Of course, at the end of the day, we are processing the information because the data represents information. For example, if the data is the number, it's cardinal, or it's float. Actually, we are processing the data, but the data represents the number abstraction. So actually, we can say that we are using computers to process the abstraction, process the information, but we must be aware about how to represent information. For us, it's very difficult to use cardinals and floats to represent information. The number 4 could be represented also by the cardinals and also by the floats, and we must select. It is our decision, and we must have concrete rules how to select, how to build them, because of course now we are talking about the simple types, but we have also the complex type. Complex type. What is the difference between simple type and complex type? Can you answer this question? One thing? One word? Okay, 2 words. Okay, we have a sentence. A complex type consists of many simple types. No. Actually, in all of the cases, type defines the set of values. But you are right that each value could contain embedded members. So actually, it is each value for the complex type consists of the embedded value. It is not necessary that the embedded value is simple. It could be complex. Each part of the array could contain array. Each part of the structure could contain structure, could contain array. But the question is how to distinguish simple types and complex type, because we have different languages, we have different environment, different languages, programming languages. Because we talking about the types, we are talking actually about the compiler languages. There's only one thing, because the type actually it is set of values, correct values. It is set of values. It is one thing. And second, it is set of operations we can apply to these values, on these values. So we can use this operation to process the values. It is type. Complex type must have one very important operation. We call this operation selector. talking about the array, we are talking about the complex value, but we have index to select one value from this complex value. Talking about the structure, we have the field name to select a value that is associated with this field. Therefore, selection operation, it's very important for complex data because it is something that distinguishes, for example, for the simple data, for float or for the cardinal, we don't have selection operation to select part because it is representation of one simple information. But we have another type of data. We call it structure data. Someone told about it, that structure. What is different between the structure and complex data? Is the structure also the complex data? Let's answer the question. What is the difference between the complex data and structured data? What we don't know for the structured data? Someone is writing, so let's wait for the answer. The question is, what is different between the complex data and the structured data? Because during the previous lesson, someone asked about the structured data in the databases. So we are talking about the databases, and actually it is a very important thing. And we are talking about the streams. Do you think that streams cannot represent the structured data? Don't try to put essay, just a few words. The answer is very simple. Only one person might have idea what is the difference? Probably you know many languages. Probably you know doesn't matter what languages you know, because in all our languages is the same. It is actually the good example how this lesson will look like, because we are talking about the problems. The problem is how to represent information, but no, how to use the language to provide. It is too long answer. I can't read it, but I can answer the question that for the structure data, we don't know structure. We don't know relationship between the members of this data. The structure could be, for example, tree, could be stream. The only for the complex data, having the selector, we assume that the structure is fixed. For example, we are talking about the tables, about the arrays, and talking about the arrays, we are talking about the selector as index. But index assumes that the structure of the complex data is well known. It's array. So talking about the array, everyone knows what the array is. If you are talking about the structure, we must use not index, because index doesn't make sense. In this case, we are using fields, name of fields, to get access to the members of the complex data, to the members that is embedded in the complex data. But what we are using to create full mesh structure, actually talking about the structure, we are not talking about the structure, because if we are talking, for example, for full mesh, so we can have any relationship. There's no limitation to create full mesh. We are saying that we are creating graph in this case. What we need to create to create structured data? What we need? One word. Waiting for your answer. One word. What we need? You know the answer. No schema. It's wrong. Schema is completely something. Pattern, no. Pattern defines the structure. But if the structure is full mesh, we cannot define the structure. So we can now define the schema, because the schema provides concrete rules how the structure is, how relationship between the elements is. What we are using? No. The correct answer, we are using references. Do you know the word references? Using the references, we can actually contain any shape, any graph, and we can contain any relationship between the members of the data. If we are talking about the data as something, so what it's complex. Next, it's what we must do to make the process automatic. What we need? Of course, we need computer to process the data. What else? What is needed? Algorithm. Yes, at the very beginning we need algorithm. But to instruct the computer to do what we need, because the actually algorithm is abstraction, and we can use the abstraction to instruct the computer what to do, because abstraction is something like ghost. It's very difficult to hit the ghost using the hammer. It's impossible. Therefore, we must algorithm represent us we need to represent the algorithm as a software program using selected language. This way, using the language, we are representing an abstraction. What is so important? What is so important that we are talking about the programming languages and algorithms? Why we cannot use directly algorithms? Of course, algorithm is abstract, but forget that it's abstract. Let's assume that algorithm is not abstract. And it is physically possible to use this algorithm to instruct computer what to do. Why it's for us so important to distinguish algorithm and algorithm representation as a program? 2 words. No. Can't see good answer. Someone is writing, so let us, and you are thinking about it. It is example how this lesson will look like. So to answer this question, I think it is very important to be prepared. Actually, for this lesson, you should be prepared by the previous lessons, previous courses you have accomplished. But it seems that it's not true. Therefore, now we must to again discuss some terms to make sure that during the next lesson we'll use it correctly. The answer is because the same algorithm could be represented as different languages. We can use C#, we can use Java, we can use C++, we can use C native, and many other languages to represent the same algorithm. It's the same what the numbers is, encoding system, because we have many different representation of the same information. For example, number. Depending of the scenario we are using, the scenario we must apply to solve the problem. Therefore, we must use different representation, and this way we must use different languages, different syntax. And if we are using different syntax, we must use different compiler. Why we need compiler? What is compiler? Looking for your answer. What it is? What is the role of compiler? Translate. What does translate means? Translate is not correct words, because I'm talking about the role. So we must use compiler to do something. What we are doing using compiler? Remember our discussion about the alphabet, about the limitation related to the computers. Still something is writing. We are trying to provide me essay. I'm waiting just for a few words, not for the whole sentences. It's for me impossible to read. Remember, all my questions requires answer as a few words. Usually it's one word, or I know that it's something like crosswords, but still, if we are talking about we must work in teams, it's typical for today. Working in team, we must understand each other. So if someone talking about the algorithm, all of us must be aware what the algorithm means. There's no time to discuss, to provide additional definition what for us algorithm means. For me, algorithm means. Algorithm is the universal word, and it's used in computer science. It's popular term. It's the same with data and information. So we must understand. So what is compiler? Compiler, it's still a program. It's program. But what is the reason we are using this program? We provide appropriate automation to replace the language, because we are writing the program using the programming language that have alphabet that comes from the native language. But the computer uses binary alphabet. Therefore, there is a need to replace the native language, something like native, because the programming language is not native language, it's subset of the native language. Convert it to the program that is binary language, that is written in the binary language. Okay, last question. What the program is? What we are going to do? What you are doing sitting in front of the computer and writing program? No idea? Someone is writing. Okay. What the program is? As usual, we are trying to provide me complicated answer. No. Because it depends. You said that it is said of something, of instruction, of the construction, things like that. But yeah, of course, it depends. It depends on the language, because the programming language could be also binary language. In this case, it's difficult to discuss about the instruction. The language, it's the language, programming language, is for us high-level languages. It's just a text. It's just a text. But for the computer, it's just a stream of bits. Therefore, we need compiler to convert the text into the stream of bits to make sure that the computer could use this stream of bits to do something useful for us. So if it is text, what is the difference between the newspaper and the program? One word. Answer is one word. What is the difference between how to distinguish text, or let me ask in a different way. Do you think that the text in the newspaper is program? Of course you say no. So how to distinguish? What is the difference between the program is text and the what we have in the newspaper, in the book? Remember that the book could be also electronic book. So the paper is not necessarily the difference. The difference is one word. One word, not couple of words, but compilable. What it means compilable? Can you provide what it means compilable? Compilable means that not maintainable. Compilable means that it is it use appropriate appropriate syntax. Appropriate syntax. Compiler checks the text against the built-in syntax. Syntax that it is appropriate for selected language. If we are talking about the C#, we are talking about concrete syntax, about concrete syntax rules. So you know now what for me it's so important during the laboratory, that we are starting with compilation of the program. If there are errors in the program, actually it is not program. It is just text. It could be newspaper, it could be book, it could be something, but it's not program. Program is if we check that it is correct, again, selected syntax, selected for the language we are using. For example, if you are using C++ or Java and try to compile against C#, you will get a lot of errors because it's not program in context of C#. Maybe maybe still is program, but talking about the program, we must talk about the programming language, about the alphabet, syntax, and semantics. Semantics, how to apply the meaning to the correct construct, text constructs. For example, what class means, what the instruction means, what the method Okay, I'm sorry for the break. It seems that we have lost. Must share the screen again. Can you hear me? Yes, okay, thanks. Sorry for the break, but today it's not good day, I think, for remote education. Internet, it's not really able. We have number of breaks. So let me go back to the idea. We are talking about the computer as a device, and this device, to make sure the device works correctly and it is useful for us, we must provide programs. So it is program able device. We must provide program. Talking about the programs, we are talking about the text, and this text must be correct, must be created, must be edited according to the syntax rules for the selected language. And this language also provides the meaning of this text. Provided that the text is correct, we can provide the meaning. Without correct syntax, actually the text is meaningless. Therefore, for us during the laboratory, it is very important to make sure that we can check the program, the text, against the syntax we have selected. And second is that actually the program must represent an algorithm we have selected. Okay, let's go for the next topic. As we said, we are going to define programs. So we are software developers. Software developer is responsible to provide programs. Do you mean that software developer is only responsible to provide the program? Yes or no? No. Okay. Can you one word provide me? Can you answer the question? What next? What is our responsibility also? Additional responsibility for the program. What we must do. Design. Of course, we must design. Of course, the program must be maintained. But for us, the most important thing is to prove that the program represents selected algorithm. We must prove that our program press the computer actually to do the algorithm you have selected. How to prove it? There's not possible to prove it, but we can improve this process by one word, by testing. Yes, the answer is testing. By testing. Therefore, for us, the very important thing is testing, not only writing the program, but also the testing that the program works against our expectation, that the program realizes the algorithm we have selected. How to do, and what it means, it is this answer I think that we learn the answer to this question later. Now let's skip this question. We know what the program is. It's just the text. We must select programming language. Therefore, I have selected programming language, and we will use C# as the language, and it is requirements for all of you. Doesn't matter if you know or not this language, because actually I am not expecting you learn this language. You know the language in detail, so you know the syntax and semantic of the language in details. I expect that you use this language to make sure that you understand basic terms, basic problems, can solve basic problems. Okay, we have what is the computer program? We said that it is text, but usually you are referring to the question I got during the laboratory about using for example, MVVM using WPF and things like that, one of the very important thing for this course is to understand that construction of the program is layered. Is layered. What is the layer? We must understand this. What is the layer? 2 words. Looking for your answer. What is the layer? We must prove that we are talking about the layer. We must be sure what the layer is. For example, if you provide me your program and it is required that the program is layered. For example, MVVM in task 2, it is a model. It is a model that is used to design layered program. How this model relates to this model we have on the screen? I know that the answer is very difficult, and you have no idea how to answer this question. But the answer is very, very simple and refers to things we did talk about during previous slides. Actually, the layer is set of types. A set of types. So you must prove that if you are talking about the layer, selected layer, for example, user, because the layers is very important. Of course, it is text, but this text, according to the language, selected language, is used to define functionality, and we are using this functionality to provide appropriate expected behavior of the computer and the program, because the computer and the program together makes something that is responsible to behave according to the algorithm we have selected. So actually, if we are talking about the presentation, we expect that the presentation, this layer, contains functionality that is responsible to provide graphical user interface. Of course, we can use different technology, different frameworks, how to define graphical user interface, but still the program must be layered. How to prove the program is layered? First, we must point out that in the layer there is well-defined set of types, and there must be additional requirements that the layer above refers only to the layer below. It's impossible that from the presentation we get access to the data. What it means getting access? I said get access from the presentation layer to the data layer. Remember, this layer is type. What it means getting access? 2 words, not essay. What it means getting access? For example, it could be very difficult for the next laboratory lesson where I'm going to show you how to work in pairs. During this lesson, we'll discuss how to organize the development environment, how to organize the program, how to define projects, how to provide references between the projects. So answering this question is very important. Getting access from one layer to another layer, because actually talking about the Visual Studio, we are talking about the projects, we are talking about the folders, we are talking about the files, we are talking about the language constructs like class, like method, but everything must be in context of layers. So the answer use in the some way. So what do you mean some way? No, it's not good answer. It must be the definition. Remember, all my question requires definition, it requires answering that we will not have any doubts that we can recognize that presentation get access to the data. So looking at the program, we must be sure that the presentation get access to the data, saying that it is that it use. What do you mean use? Let's wait a couple of seconds to allow you provide me answers. Okay, in the meantime, let me explain. I will try this way. I will try this way to assess your work and provide you points. So every correct answer on this chat, you will get scores. You will get points that you could use to your final score. Therefore, it is very important to be prepared. I know that it is very difficult to be prepared for this lesson. Therefore, today I will not provide you any benefits, any points. It is just to check how it works. I'm using this conversation, this type of conversation first time. So for me, is also the lesson how to use it, how to not waste the time of the lesson. Okay. No, it is because it's impossible to talk about the data. Why? The answer is very simple. Because now we are talking about the design time, not about the run time. Processing the data, as the word said, processing. It means that we must do something. But talking about doing something, actually, we are talking about the runtime. Now we are talking about the design time, and during the design time, we are not talking about the data. The data for us doesn't exist. Actually, we are talking about the types. Types only explains possible values we can use, but doesn't define concrete data. The correct answer is that in the presentation, we are using types, and in the data, we are also using types. So if the presentation directly refers to the types in the data, it means that we are getting access from the presentation to the data layer. Using types, there are many possibilities how to limit this getting access. That it is impossible from presentation to data to use directly types, because using types, referring to the types in the presentation layer, the types that are defined in the data layer, means that we are getting access. The question for you for your homework, it is how to do it using any actually development environment, including Visual Studio. But let me go because the time is rolling out. These three layers, the responsibility of the three layers, of course, they contain types, but we are defining types to describe the functionality. So talking about the layers, we are talking about the types, but the same if we are talking about the program, we are talking about the algorithm. The same is in this case, that talking about the types, we are talking about the functionality. So presentation is responsible to support exposing data using the graphical user interface, or also to get the data from the user, to react to the action, to react to the events that the user of the computer for an activity of the computer user. But the data layer is responsible for managing the files and managing its database. In files, we have stream of data. And in the databases, we have structured data. The question is for you, it is homework, because we'll return to this question. If using the files, it is impossible to represent structured data. It is not impossible to save in the files something that is full mesh graph. It is question for your homework, but we'll learn what is graphical data is, how to organize graphical data. For us, the most important thing in be a layered solution for graphical data, how to manage graphical data on the screen using the layered solution. For example, MVVM. Therefore, the MVVM is very important. For me, it's not important the technology framework you are using. Therefore, I think I'm not sure if changing the framework it's important, because for us the question is how to organize the program, but not how to use selected framework. Selected framework is for us completely not important. So we must talk about the graphical data, we must talk about structured data, because we must talk about what is on the screen, and we must talk about what is in the environment as the data that is structured data. But also we must talk about the data streams. So data streams, we have two, structured data we have two, and graphical data we have two. For the graphical data, this layer is responsible for the accessing the streams, and structured data layer is responsible. But in the meantime, we must talk about the programming, functional programming. What it means, it could be very important question for this lesson. Also, we must talk about semantic data. We have today, we discuss selected topics, but we must understand what the semantics data is. For example, we are talking about the types, but what the anonymous type is, it is very good question, I think, for you. Of course, introduction is, today we have actually introduction. It is 2, 4, 5, 6 lessons. Together we have 7 lessons. I think that structured data, it is divided to 2 lessons. We have 2 lessons that it's for this to discuss the structured data. On the weekend, we have schedule, we have assessment rules, we have references and resources. So let's go to the vcamp. We have a couple of minutes. Actually, we have discussed contents of the, now it's impossible to switch on the presentation. Let me try to find, where is here? Here I have vcamp and PT. I must log in to get in. Assessment. Let me provide some additional information about the test. Test will ask you if you understand the you will understand the lecture. You can answer the question we are asking during the seminar. So actually, taking participation in the seminar allows you to pass the test. I think, I hope, I believe. Activity is answering the question. I'll try to use this chat. I'm not sure how it works, but I try to use this chat to provide you additional scores. So be prepared for the next lessons. We have agenda for the lessons, so we can in advance know what we are going to talk, and you can use any sources to get access, to get answers to this question, to get points, because 20 points, I think it is something that could be important for you, because actually from the seminar, you need 30 points to pass. So if you have 20 points from the activity, you need only 10 points from test. I think that the risk is, in this case, it's minimal. Okay, about laboratory we talk, so now let's skip it. Any question to this assessment? Any proposals maybe? Do you have any idea how to improve? We'll see how it works. I see usually only a few people is active during the call, but previously answering the questions, only one guy get point, only one. Using the chat, there could be possibilities that many answers could get points. Typically, previously, there was no problem to get 20 points. Usually, students get much more. Of course, selected students, not all students, because usually the students, it is binary grouping. So part of you are not active, completely not active, and partially you are very active. Okay. Someone is writing. Okay, we'll not wait for. If you have say something, please switch your phone or write references. I think that this resource for all of you that missed this information from the previous lesson is very important, because in this repository there is the code I'm using to discuss all the topics during the lesson. In the folder external data management, you can find this code. In this repository, I have an example of the code for two core courses, independent courses. First, it's adaptive programming. For the Polish students, it is the next step. And actually, during the adaptive programming, we are discussing more sophisticated and complicated things. For example, how to use selected frameworks to implement, for example, dependency injection. But actually, talking about the dependency injection, the difference is very simple. During this course, we still use operation new to create objects. In adaptive programming, using the frameworks, we are creating objects automatically without new. So we are eliminating new. But still, everything works exactly the same. But now, discussing about dependency injection is very important to understand the concept. Next, it's next distributed programming. It is how to build the program from pieces that are connected over the network, including internet. So it is next step, but actually I don't think it is proposal for you, because it's proposal for Polish students. Okay. Let me go back to the chat. There's one question. So we don't have to have, for example, for the test, as long as the total, yes, of points is enough. Yes. It's enough to get, let me go back to the assessment rules. Assessment grading scale. For example, having 20 points, it's only need to get 10 points from the test. Of course, if you are getting 20 points from the activity, probably you are interested to get 40 points from the test, because you are looking for the good score. So it doesn't work this way, but of course, for passing, it is enough to get only 30 points as the sum from the test and the activity. Okay. So now it's time for you for questions, because I think that we have addressed all the items on my agenda topics. I've lost the screen with your feedback. Oh, it's here, not here. Maybe it's here, not here. Where it is? Somewhere on my computer. Oh, it's here. Okay. Thank you, all of you, for attending this. Will be possible to access the recording of this seminar on Vican. Yes, the answer is yes. I'm recording, but I'm not sure about the quality of the recording because of the gaps, because of breaks during this session. But still, it will be available. To provide you link, and it will be available on the YouTube. So thank you. If there is no question, that's all for today. Thank you very much for attending, and you are welcome in 2 weeks, because the next lesson will be in the 2 weeks. Thank you very much. So you can log out. I'll be waiting for the end of the session.